Alright guys, so check this out. Here we go. We're going to set them all on fire. Look at the dot damage go. Get some AP buff here. Reapply some fire. And they're all dead. A working dot build and CT15. It's so good. This build is so much fun.
What's up everyone, and welcome back to another video. My name is Ben Lee. I make multiple videos on Outriders every single week. Tips, tricks, guides, builds, you name it. And I've also started live streaming. It's been going incredibly well and the support has been amazing. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button. The streaming has been right here on YouTube, so you don't even have to leave the platform. Very convenient. So hit that subscribe button, you'll be able to be notified when I go live. Don't be like Dave here. Come on Dave. You can do it. But with all of that out of the way, guys, this is my burn-based dot damage pyro, so dot being damage over time. It's incredibly effective and a great deal of fun, and I really have been trying hard recently to get dot damage to work in this game effectively enough that you can do CT15 golds quite comfortably, and it's taken me quite a while to get this build nailed down. I basically set myself a target because most of the damage in this game is based on like burst damage and killing things super quickly, with like a couple of skills, but I wanted something where you could just basically like ignite everything around you and then just watch everything die, so it's quite quick in that regard. It's not as fast as like an Ash Blast Overheat Pyro, of which by the way I have the build and guide of that on my channel, as I believe that's the fastest clear speed build you can currently make in the game. You're not going to beat something like that, but in terms of actually having raw dot damage and being able to clear maps and kill bosses, this build is absolutely phenomenal, and it's just really great for something just completely different. In all my time playing Outriders, I've never seen another build like this, so I was so pleased when I managed to get everything to line up so that it actually worked. And this is possibly the most excited I've been to share a build with the community. And if you do like this one, guys, let me know down in the comments, because it did take a lot of work and a lot of time to get this just right. I went really deep into all the mechanics of like resistance piercing and stuff to be able to get this one. But anyway, guys, let's get right into the video of this one, and I'll explain how it all works.
So coming over to our skills here, guys, we have Heat Wave. Heat Wave is essential on this one because of the debuff that we do with one of the mods that we have, but it also is a really nice heal. It also sets things on fire, which is really important for this build because it's burn based, but also on top of that it scales our anomaly power absolutely massively with the Akari set that we are wearing. So very important to have Heat Wave. Next one here, volcanic rounds, and this is the first build that I've actually tried with volcanic rounds, and one of the things that I really like about this is fill your current weapons magazine with bullets that will ignite the air around enemies and inflict burn onto them even if the bullet misses, which is really quite cool. I didn't know this until I'd actually read this. So it allows you to just spray around. It gives you really nice range with the gun that we're using, so that you can just set everything on fire from a nice distance, and even if you miss, it will still set them on fire. So it's very good, and it works really well with this build. The next thing we've got here is Feed the Flames, and this one's absolutely mandatory because it's the way that we get our ammo back, but also on top of that it's a massive heal which will heal you up to full health, and it's only on a 12.8-second cooldown, which is quite nice. And then you've also got the effect of the interrupts and the fact that it turns things to ash as well, so it's also a CC. So together these work really well, and I wouldn't recommend changing any of them. Over on our class tree, you might look at this and go, whoa, this looks a bit weird, but honestly guys, it works really well. Basically, we're coming down bottom tree to pick up anomaly power and extra skill damage against marked targets. Over here, we're getting more damage against things afflicted by burn. We've got a bit of resistance here. You could try changing this one for the skills life leech. I like the resistance, so I've put it in my build here. Then we're also coming over here and picking up Phoenix. This one's really nice for this build as well. This build has a really defensive playstyle that you can do anyway, while also doing absolutely massive amounts of damage, because you can cast things like Heat Wave from behind cover, also Feed the Flames from behind cover, but you can also pop out, shoot a bunch of things, and instead, even if you miss and you get bullets close to them, it'll set them on fire, and then you can go behind cover again while the dot damage takes all their health away. So it's really nice, but having Phoenix here as well really helps just keep you absolutely pushing through all the CTs. Even if you make a mistake or your positioning is quite bad and you go down, Phoenix Nestling's really good for that cheap death. Then over here as well, a really important one is Conflagration here for the resistance piercing of 15%. And then we've come up here as well and picked up Marked Accumulation for an extra 8% against marked enemies. Obviously obviously, you might be wondering why I've not picked this one up here, but we don't actually use any explosive skills, so this one's completely irrelevant for this build. Then from that, we're going up, picking up Extinction, and this is like an execute, so you're doing more damage to them the lower health they are. And then you've got Meltdown here for more damage against things afflicted by burn. This one's really nice here, Incinerate. The moment burn ends, an enemy is inflicted with ash. This is really quite cool because you're spraying your bullets around everywhere anyway and using heat wave to set everything on fire, but the moment it ends, it obviously sets them, it inflicts ash status, which is really nice to just CC things around. It makes it super easy for you to then re-inflict another burn on them, and by the time that you've done 2 sets of burn, most things are dead anyway. So not only do you have things like a cheap death, you've also got a really defensive playstyle, and you CC as well, which is really quite nice. And this one here as well, we come up hot situation, we're grabbing this one, so when you activate an immobilize skill, which is your Feed the Flames, you gain an anomaly power buff of 45%, which is massive for 10 seconds. And if we go back here, you can see the Feed the Flames is only on a 12.8 second cooldown, so you have this up quite a lot anyway, and it makes quite a big difference. So it's really good and I highly recommend it. And then this one here, we've got another conflagration, and this one gives us more resistance piercing of 15%, which is really quite useful. I have tried playing around with not taking these ones here and picking up things like Master of Armor, another Master of Resistance, and this one here, but I really felt that the damage really dropped off, so I highly recommend keeping the skill tree up like this. Again, you could take off this Marks accumulation here. You would lose a little bit of damage against things around, but you could end up picking up something like Chasing Away the Chill if you want to be even more defensive. So killing a marked enemy heals you by an additional 12% of your max health, or you could come down here and lower the cooldown of your Phoenix and buff it so that when it goes off you come up with 100% health, but the cooldown would go down to 135 seconds instead of the original cooldown of 180, but that would be up to you. I feel like this works best for me, so this is the build that I use. Coming over to our inventory here with our weapons, all you're looking for with this is a light machine gun that has status power and death chains on. If you could find one with, for example, weapon life leech like the death shield has here, then you could make yourself even more tanky by getting a little bit extra health back when you shoot, but as long as you've got death change and status power with this build, then you're good to go. It's got a range of 42 meters, which is really quite nice, and you just want to make sure that you're changing it over, guys, to this suppressing variant. That's very important for this build to get the ammo up to 150 clip size, and then you'll never have ammo problems with this because the damage you actually do from your bullets is really low. It's all about just spreading the burn damage around using the volcanic rounds here. The other thing I have on here as well is Fortress, and this one's mandatory for this build, guys. You receive up to a 43% damage bonus based on your armor, and this is across the board on every bit of damage that you do. So this makes death chains do even more damage than the 193k that it says in the tooltip there. But more importantly as well is it increases the damage of your burns by 43%, so it's absolutely mandatory. The other weapons that I've got on here are basically just for style points. I don't use them at all. With the bullet-based build, you're only focusing on the one weapon here. So again, if you can find a light machine gun that's got status power and death change on, and then if you could find one as well that has a weapon life leech, that would probably be optimal. This one's got armor piercing, and I was testing out a different mod with this one that had more resistance piercing based on your armor pierce. So this is one that I was trying out here, but I found that mod to be a bit lackluster, so I won't include it in the build. So if you can find one with weapon life leech, I haven't found one yet, then you'll be even better off than I am. Coming over to the armor here, we're using the 3-piece Akari set, and the set bonus, if you read down the bottom, is every enemy damaged by heat wave grants 50% anomaly power bonus for 10 seconds. I do believe that this caps out at 300%, but with the other mods and things that we have on here, we can actually get our anomaly power up from the 159k with no skills active all the way up to about 735k in the middle of combat, which is a massive increase. And it really has a big impact in the damage you get from your burn, so I highly recommend the Akari set, and I recommend the head, chest and pants setup that I have here. So on this as well, we have Fire Tsunami, which comes on the helmet, increases the width of your firewall. This is really quite decent just for being able to hit as many enemies as possible. And then I put on Burnout here. This is how we debuff as well, and it's also really good for a co-op build because with your heat waves, damaged enemies will take 25% more damage for 8 seconds, and this stacks up. So the more heat waves you can put on enemies, the more damage you and your teammates will do, so it actually makes it a very co-op friendly build as well. So Burnout, absolutely mandatory. I think it's an amazing mod, and it should be in your build. And you can buy this helmet from Tiago. Coming down to the armor of the Akari here, I've put on bullet absorption here, so Feed the Flames replenishes 33% ammo in the magazine for every enemy affected by the skill. So this is how we get our ammo back. It's the only way we do, but 33% of your ammo when you've got a gun that's got 150 clip size is really significant, and this is why we use the suppressing variant on the weapon here. And with these combined, you'll never have ammo problems at all. The armor of the Akari also comes with Tidal Wave here, so Heat Wave, this skill can be activated one more time before triggering cooldown, so that's really, really nice as well. Coming down to the pants here, we've got Anomaly Echo, which was the better of the mods that was on the pants here, so we've just left that one in. It's okay, but we can't change both mods, so it's in the build here. And then on here as well, I've put on Captain Hunter for just more damage against elites, and this one actually drops on the gloves of the Cannonball, and they generally drop quite a lot, and especially with the legendary drop rate buff that's just come in the game, you shouldn't really have too much of an issue being able to find Captain Hunter. So I put this one on. It's a really, really good mod across all builds, so I put it in here. Coming down to the gloves here, we've got anomaly power, cooldown reduction, and status power. The most important things here are the anomaly power and the status power. These will have an effect on your burn damage, and then cooldown reduction is obviously really nice as well for your heat waves and for your Feed the Flames. So those are the ideal stats that you want. With the Akari set here, you've got skills life leech here, you've got skills life leech there, and skilled life leech here, so these three will make you quite tanky just with the skilled life leech anyway, so you don't need it on anymore. So having these three is really, really nice. And then I've put on here Lava Shot, so volcanic rounds increases your anomaly power by 25% while the skill is active, and because the skill is always active and you never run out of ammo, you've got a permanent 25% buff to your anomaly power, so we go from 159k, and if I just pop the skill on here and come back in, basically sat around at 206k at a base anomaly power, which is really, really quite nice just because of lava shots. So it just increases damage across the board all the time, really significant, and I highly recommend having it in. Then I've got here damage absorber. I have played around with having no defensive mods in this build at all, and then having damage absorber in. I highly recommend this one. It just works across the board because of the fact that we have 20% resistance from the skill tree. Having damage absorber puts this up to 30%. And then with the armor and stuff we've got here, we're sat at a flat 67% damage reduction. So we're very tanky as well anyway, just in general. Plus obviously the cheat death and all the burns that we do give you healing from all the skilled life leech that we've got. So it's a very, very tanky build that way. So I highly recommend having damage absorber in your build. Coming down to the boots here, this is what I'm really excited to share with you guys as well. So again here I've got anomaly power, skilled life leech, and status power. Again, you could swap out the skills life leech for cooldown reduction. I haven't found boots that I wanted with the mods that I wanted and cooldown reduction, so I'm wearing these here. So it's up to you with what you find and what you use. It works really well just having this here. But what I'm really, really excited about here is with the Ride the Wave mod here, which gives you a third heat wave, which is very, very strong and a mod that I recommend you at least give a try. But this mod slot, I have actually put on loads and loads of different mods and tested them across the board, loads of different things, and I find that you don't need the third heat wave. It's not absolutely essential or mandatory at all to this build, and I have actually done many, many gold CT15 runs with only having 2 heat waves. While I think Ride the Wave is a fantastic addition, this is a mod slot that you can literally put in whatever mod you want. So use this slot here to be able to experiment around, or if there's anything that you want, like the Phantom Dash mod for example. I've experimented with this just for fun and I did it on stream. So yeah, I've put in things like Phantom Dash because it actually looks really, really cool as well, and it's really, really good fun for just dashing around. And to be honest, I didn't really notice any difference, my head's floating there, at all in my damage. And it was just really fun to be able to use this. So use this as a mod slot, guys, to be able to put in anything that you want. But if you're unsure, guys, of what mods there are out there and what mods you could use, there are some that I recommend. Obviously, Ride the Wave is a really, really good one, and one that I quite like to use. Giving you that third heat wave gives you more potential to set things on fire. It also gives an extra 25% debuff, which is really nice to just take things down quicker, and especially the elites. It makes it really, really nice for co-op play as well. So Ride the Wave is a really, really fantastic one. Over on the tier 2 mods here, you've got the option for twice as hot as well. So whenever a skill is used, inflict extra 39k damage to all enemies afflicted with burn. So you can spray your gun round, set everything on fire, and then use the skill, including your melee, because melee does count as a skill. So with twice as hot, it does actually do quite a bit of extra damage on your run. So if you're looking to get faster runs, then maybe try twice as hot. It's really quite nice. So you can set everything on fire and hit melee, run a little bit, set everything on fire, hit melee again. So if you can get in the habit of just meleeing around, you're going to be doing an extra 40k damage to everything that's on fire. every couple of seconds that melee's up, so it can be really quite nice, but it depends if you want the playstyle of having to melee all the time to make the most of the mod. Another mod that I highly recommend as well is Perseverance Shield. If you want to basically just be invincible with this build, because you've got damage absorber on anyway, and you can play it super defensive, and you have a lot of healing from all the dot damage that you do, Perseverance Shield, I've actually used this one a lot, and it's one of my top mods that I recommend. Give it a try. You're basically invincible when you've got all of this going, and then if you do die, you've got your Phoenix that can bring you back up again, and the fact that Perseverance Shield is only on a 5-second cooldown makes it really quite nice. You could try things like Emergency Stance if you really wanted to. I don't recommend using Ice Trap because the fact that, for example, when you're fighting a boss, you can make them status immune quite quickly, and then you won't get any value out of Ice Trap if it triggers, as opposed to Perseverance Shield here, which is really strong, and I highly recommend giving this one a try. I have also tried things like no resistance against the fortified, so this is what I was talking about earlier. Increase your resistance piercing by 50% of your armor piercing value. This one didn't work too well, so I don't really recommend this one. Going over to the tier 3 mods, I've also put in susceptibility. Volcanic rounds decreases the resistance of enemies damaged by 34%. I didn't really notice too much of a damage increase when I used this. It could be used as a debuff if you're playing with another anomaly build in co-op, then maybe you could put this one on and try it round so you're doing resistance debuffs for your team, but then again you could just put on the extra heat wave and get the extra 25% damage bonus from the burnout mod, so that one would be up to you to try. I have also as well put on unstoppable force, which increases your anomaly power by 50% of your resistance piercing. This one didn't seem to do too much either, so I don't really highly recommend this one, so it's up to you if you wanted to give it a try. But the top mods that I would say are really good are Ride the Wave, Twice as Hot, Perseverance Shield, and if you want a bit of fun as well, then you could put on Phantom Dash just because it looks cool and it's nice to dash around with it all. But guys, literally put in any mod that you feel like you would like. The last mod that you've probably seen for this build as well, with everything I was showing there, is the Bullet Kindling, so deal 20% more damage against enemies afflicted by burn. This one is absolutely mandatory and it should be in your build. So there you are guys, it's a really interesting build.
That's absolutely tons of fun to play and really flexible, but as always guys, just because I'm really nice, I've even taken the time here to show you all the mods on the screen at the same time, so you can pause the video and have a look. And if you like this, remember to go down and like the video. Just want to shout out for the Discord that we've got going. There's an absolutely amazing community going on there. It's completely free. The link will be in the description if you fancy joining it. We've got over 650 members in there now, which offer advice with their builds, as well as doing CT carries. So a big shout out to you guys. Keep up the good work. You're doing absolutely amazing, and thank you so much. Love you to pieces. So come on in guys and use the Looking for Group channel. Don't use the multiplayer that's in Outriders. It's absolutely rubbish in comparison. You'll end up with people that are AFK and just messing around or end up getting kicked, whereas you can form a nice party in Discord and really have a blast. Trust me, there's a lot of people doing it, as well as using like the voice channels and stuff in there, so it's really good fun. Come and join the community there and play Outriders as it was intended. And if you want to check out more, come check me out on the stream. I stream right here on YouTube. If you like the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you've learned anything. I'll be posting multiple videos on Outriders every single week. And let me know in the comments what you think of this build. Maybe you've got something else that you would prefer to try, or another mod that you think would be amazing. Then let me know. I really want to know. And if you're going to use this build as well, let me know, because I really want to know who you guys are. And I'll leave you guys here with this CT15 frontline that I did, so you can get an idea of what the build's like and also what it's like against someone like Mullock. Oh, and just as an extra shout out as well guys, I do have now plenty of builds on the channel for Technomancer, Trickster and Pyromancer. Things like Ash Blast, Overheat Pyro, which can take out entire rooms in literally like 2 seconds, as well as Debuff Pyro, so if you're interested in a Debuff Pyro build, I've got all the information there on the channel, so feel free to check that out. And until the next one guys, I hope you at least learned something, and I also hope you have a nice day. See you now.
trouble again.
Not this time. He's sung his last. And the pod's ours.